You don't have to raise your voice to make an impact. Sometimes it's the quiet truth that shakes a man to his core. Let that sink in for a second, because in a world full of noise, the realest things are often the quietest. And when it comes to love, that couldn't be more true. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. If you've ever felt like you're doing everything right, you're beautiful, smart, loyal, but somehow it still feels like you're not enough to make someone stay, this video is for you. Before we dive in, do me a favor. Like this video and subscribe. It helps spread this message to more women out there who are tired of playing games and ready for something real. Now let me hit you with a truth that might sting a little. There's a difference between a man liking you and a man feeling you. One fades when the excitement wears off. The other lingers, deep, lasting, unshakable. But here's the catch. He doesn't feel you because of how good you look in selfies or how flirty you can be. He feels you because of your energy, your presence, your words. And when you learn to speak with substance, not strategy, that's when everything shifts. We've been taught to play small, taught that if we say too much, feel too deep, love too openly, we'll scare him off. But what if that fear is the exact thing keeping you from the kind of love you deserve? Fear says, don't show too much. And what power says, let him feel who you really are. Fear says, make him chase. Power says, make him choose. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a room and felt someone's energy before they even spoke? Like the whole vibe just changed when they walked in? That's what your words can do when they come from your core, not your performance. You see, the kind of woman a man falls for, the one he remembers, the one he builds with, isn't always the loudest or the flashiest. She's the one who sees him without needing to fix him. She speaks in a way that calms his storm, not adds to it. She knows the power of saying the right thing at the right moment, not to control, but to connect. And listen, Denzel once said, true desire in the heart, that itch you have to be great. It's God's proof to you, sent beforehand to indicate that it's yours. That's not just about success, it's about connection too. If your heart is craving something deeper, something lasting, something that doesn't just feel good but feels safe, that desire is already your proof. You're not crazy, you're called. Say this out loud with me and drop it in the comments. I don't chase, I attract. I don't perform, I connect. I don't doubt, I remember who I am. Go ahead, write it, because every time you affirm it, you teach your nervous system a new truth, one that doesn't come from fear, but from freedom. So stay with me, because what I'm about to share next could completely shift the way you speak to men, and more importantly, how they respond. These 5 phrases, they don't come from a script, they come from your center, and once you learn them, you won't have to try so hard to be seen, you'll already be felt. Let's get into it. Number 1, I feel safe when I'm with you. Every strong man is looking for a place where he doesn't have to be strong all the time. And when you tell him you feel safe, you just gave him that place. My friends, let's go deeper with this first phrase. I feel safe when I'm with you. Simple words, but don't be fooled. This one doesn't just land in his ears, it lands in his soul. Because it tells him something no one else has dared to say. Not you're hot, not you're funny, but you're safe. And for a man who's always being told to be strong, to fix, to provide, that hits different. Imagine this, he's the rock everyone leans on, the one expected to have all the answers, the one carrying the weight of his world and still pretending it doesn't hurt. And then you come along, not with pressure, but with presence. And when you look him in the eye and say, I feel safe with you, you're not just giving him a compliment, you're giving him a home. But I get it. Some of you are thinking, isn't that too vulnerable? What if it makes me look weak? No, sis, vulnerability is not weakness, it's power. And trust is the deepest form of intimacy. When you say this, you're not saying you can't protect yourself. You're saying, I'm choosing to rest my armor with you. And that choice, it changes everything. Because here's the truth. Men don't fall for perfection. They fall for peace. And peace doesn't show up in performances. It shows up in moments where your soul says, I don't have to fight here. Denzel once said, ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. And sometimes letting yourself feel ease in a relationship is the scariest thing, especially when you've been trained to expect the worst. But that's the very place where love begins. When you give a man the kind of affirmation that tells him, you don't have to be perfect, just present, you unlock a version of him that only love can reach. And don't confuse this with flattery. Flattery brushes the ego. This touches the heart. You're not saying, you make me feel butterflies. You're saying, you make me feel safe. And when a man hears that from a woman he respects, he stops performing. He starts protecting. Not because you need rescuing, but because he finally sees that you trust him with something sacred, your softness. So the next time the moment is right, don't be afraid to speak that truth. Say it slowly. Say it sincerely, and watch what shifts in his spirit when he realizes he doesn't have to impress you. He just has to be present with you. Stay tight, because next up, we're talking about a phrase that hits a man right in the mind. And trust me, when you speak to his mind and his heart, that's when the real connection begins. Number 2, I love how you think. The quickest way to a man's heart isn't through his stomach, it's through his mind. Feed that, and you'll touch a part of him most people overlook. Let's talk about the second phrase, I love how you think. Now, my friends, this one doesn't just compliment, it connects. Because while most people are busy praising how a man looks or what he has, almost no one stops to appreciate how he sees the world. And if you've ever watched a man light up mid-conversation when he shares an idea, a dream, or even a silly theory about life, it's because he's finally been given permission to be heard. Imagine this. It's late. You're sitting in the car after a long day, and he starts talking about something random, maybe a business idea, or how he wants to travel the world, or what legacy means to him. Most people would smile, nod, and change the subject. But you lean in, you say, I love how you think. That moment, right there, it's not about agreement, it's about acknowledgement. It tells him that you see his mind, not just his moves, that his thoughts are valuable, not just his actions. And for a man who's constantly expected to perform, to produce, to provide, this feels like oxygen. You see, the world rewards what men do, but rarely who they are. So when you speak into his inner world, not just his outer achievements, you give him something rare, respect. And not the kind that's earned through status, but the kind that's given through connection. But let's be real, this takes presence. You can't fake this. You have to be tuned in, listening, not with the goal of responding, but with the intention of understanding. That's what makes it powerful. It's not about giving a compliment, it's about giving a man space to be more than what he's expected to be. You're not saying, you're so smart, like it's a participation trophy. You're saying, hey, I see the way your mind works and then I like it. You're engaging with his thoughts like they matter, because to the right man, that means more than anything physical ever could. Denzel once said, don't aspire to make a living, aspire to make a difference. And when you show a man that his thoughts, his ideas, and his dreams make a difference to you, that you're not just looking at him, but actually seeing him, that's when you become unforgettable. Because real intimacy isn't built in the bedroom, it's built in those little exchanges where someone says, I value the way your mind works. So don't wait for the big moment. Say it when he's building. Say it when he's dreaming. Say it when he's rambling about something no one else cared to listen to. Because when a man feels like you love his mind, not just his moment, you become more than a woman he likes. You become a woman he trusts, a woman he respects, and a woman he chooses. Then next, we're going even deeper to the phrase that shows him you don't just see his strength, you honor it. Stay with me. Number 3. I admire how you handled that. It's not what a man says that defines him. It's how he shows up when no one's clapping. My friends, this third phrase, it's a quiet kind of power. I admire how you handled that. See, compliments come and go. You look good today. Nice car. You're so smart. They're fine, but when you look a man in the eye and say, I admire how you handled that, you're not complimenting his image, you're honoring his integrity. That hits deeper. Because let's be real, life doesn't hand out applause for the things that matter most. There's no crowd cheering when a man stays calm under pressure. No Instagram post goes viral when he holds back anger, protects someone's dignity, or chooses honesty when lying would be easier. But those are the moments that reveal who he really is. And you saw it, you noticed, you paid attention not to the flash, but to the foundation. That's rare, that's powerful. Imagine this, he's telling you about something that happened at work. Maybe someone disrespected him, or the situation could have easily turned ugly. But instead of reacting, he responded with patience, with wisdom, with control. Most people wouldn't think twice, but you lean in and say, "I admire how you handled that." Do you know what that does to a man? It validates his character, not just his capabilities. It reminds him that the parts of him he's worked hardest to build, the quiet strength, the emotional discipline, the grace under fire, those things are seen. And that kind of admiration, it's not just attractive, it's anchoring. Because deep down, every man wants to be more than liked. He wants to be respected. And when that respect comes from a woman he values, it makes him want to live up to that image again and again. Not to impress you, but to honor the way you see him. And it's not about flattery, it's about witnessing. You're not hyping him up for the sake of his ego. You're holding a mirror to his better self. You're saying, "I see how you move when no one's watching, and that matters to me." Denzel once said, "Acting is just a way of making a living. The family is life." And when a man hears that you admire how he shows up, not just in public but in private moments, that's when he starts thinking about who he wants beside him for the long haul. Someone who doesn't just celebrate his wins, but who respects his walk. So next time you see it, that moment he steps up even when no one's looking, tell him, "I admire how you handled that." Because that simple phrase doesn't just land in his heart, it reminds him who he is. And next, we're going even softer, even stronger, into the phrase that gives him permission to breathe, to be human, and to be held. Stay with me. Number 4, you don't have to have it all figured out. I'm here. Sometimes, the strongest thing a man can hear isn't "I need you." It's "You don't have to be perfect. I'm not going anywhere." Let's talk about this 4th phrase. You don't have to have it all figured out. I'm here. My friends, this one doesn't shout, it soothes. It lands in the space between his silence and his stress. Because here's what no one tells you about a good man. He carries more than you see: pressure, expectations, the silent fear of letting someone down, and the deeper the love he feels for you, the heavier those pressures become, because now it's not just about surviving life, it's about being enough for you. Men are taught to be solid, providers, problem solvers. They're expected to know the next step, hold it all together, and never let the cracks show. But that kind of pressure, it doesn't build intimacy, it builds distance. So when you say, "You don't have to have it all figured out, I'm here," you're not excusing passivity, you're creating safety. Imagine this, he's sitting in silence, his mind's racing. Maybe something went wrong with work. Maybe he's struggling with a decision, a fear, a weight he can't even explain. And then you, without rushing him, without demanding answers, just place your hand gently over his and say, "You don't have to have it all figured out, I'm here." In that moment, something unclenches. His shoulders drop, his breath softens, because what you just gave him is space, not to fall apart, but to be real. And that's something so few men are offered. Not pity, not solutions, just presence. This doesn't mean you carry his burdens. You're not there to fix him, but you are there to remind him that love doesn't disappear just because life gets messy, that he's allowed to have days where he's unsure, tired, or afraid, and that being human doesn't make him less of a man. And here's the part no one says out loud. When a man feels emotionally safe, he deepens, he connects, he reveals. Because now love isn't a performance, it's a partnership. And that's the difference between being a temporary escape and being a lifetime anchor. Denzel once said, "I never really had the classic struggle. I had faith. And faith in a relationship means saying, even when you're unsure, I'm not. I believe in us." So don't underestimate the power of this phrase. Say it gently. Say it when he least expects it. Because in a world that tells him to figure it out or fail, your words become the one place he doesn't have to be perfect. He just has to be present. And next, we're stepping into the final phrase, the one that turns your belief into his breakthrough, the one that reminds him that even in his worst moments, he's still chosen. Stay with me. Number 5, I believe in you. The right words at the right moment don't just heal, they ignite. Let's talk about one of the most powerful things you can ever say to a man: I believe in you. Now, don't let the simplicity fool you. These 4 words, they're oxygen, because there will come a moment, maybe after a failure, maybe after a quiet heartbreak, when he won't see himself clearly. The world will feel too loud, the weight will feel too heavy, and he'll start to question if he's really built for the life he dreams of. That's when your voice becomes more than support. It becomes his anchor. You're not saying, I expect perfection. You're saying, I see the real you, the you behind the pressure, the you beneath the doubt, and I still choose to stand beside that man. That's not flattery, that's faith. And here's the thing, when a man hears that kind of belief from a woman he respects, something inside him rises. Not because he's trying to impress you, but because he wants to become the man your faith already sees. You're not promising him the answers. You're not solving anything. You're just reminding him that he's not alone in the dark. You're that steady light, that unwavering presence that says, even now, I see you, and I believe in what's still possible. And when love shows up like that, it becomes more than romance. It becomes legacy. And there you have it, my friends. 5 powerful phrases that don't just get a man's attention. They touch his soul. These words aren't about control or charm. They're about connection. When spoken from the heart, they unlock the kind of love that's deep, honest, and lasting. So if this message lit something up in you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, subscribe for more real talk, and share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Remember, the love you want isn't out of reach. It's already inside the way you speak. Until next time, stay grounded and stay glowing.